The 2000s had arrived, and metal was almost dead and needed a hero to revive it. Brave New World birthed a brave new era of metal and the new millennium. The band was not pleased with the smaller audiences, fewer album sales, and lowered fan support after the Virtual 11 tour. The band had 3 songs left over: The Nomad, The Mercenary, and Dream of Mirrors, which was written in part by Blaze. But Steve felt the band needed a powerful change back to form. Steve asked the classic Maiden guitarist Adrian Smith from Killers all the way to Seventh Son to return, and he did. The fans smelt a reunion approaching, and like a dream of mirrors, Bruce returned to Iron Maiden, a return that would send shockwaves throughout the rock and metal world. But instead of kicking their 90s guitarist Yannick Gers out to replace with Adrian Smith, they decided to have a 3-guitar lineup with Adrian Smith, Yannick Gers, and Dave Murray. This lineup played the classic Ed Hunter tour to support the game and compilation. Bruce sounded great and completely rejuvenated, and Adrian sounded better than ever. They employed a new producer for this album, Kevin Caveman Shirley. The lyrics returned a lot to storytelling and classic Maiden structures from days of Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. They released Out of the Silent Planet and the classic Maiden song written by Adrian Smith, The Wicker Man, as singles. Steve's father died during the Virtual 11 sessions, which influenced him to write the most moving song on the album, Blood Brothers. Blood Brothers has been dedicated many times live to the victims of many tragedies like the death of Dio, victims of the Christchurch earthquake, the Tohoku tsunami, etc. And the Brave New Tour was a massive epic arena scale, and had, in my opinion, their greatest live album to date. And out of the Silent Planet arrives a brave new world. Now we move on to the absolute classic from Iron Maiden, Brave New World, where Bruce Dickinson and Adrian Smith came back and pretty much re-energized the band. So this album came out in the year 2000. The artwork is fantastic. They have Derek Riggs come back again to do the artwork. I think they had someone else do all the digital stuff, which is like the background art, and then he just painted the Eddie in the clouds. Very, very cool, and it kind of gives this dystopian future vibe that the story Brave New World is about. Now, I get a lot of vibes where on this album they were kind of picking up where they left off on Seventh Son, where they have a lot of kind of progressive songwriting here and a lot of melodies and stuff like that. Everyone sounds really good in this album, and because they have Adrian back, they actually kept Yannick Gers, so they have a lot of triple lead guitar attack points in this album, and it's really, really, really well done on this album. Yannick Gers actually gives some of the best performances of his life here. Steve Harris does a good performance on this album, but he's not too noticeable, actually. Dave Murray, from this point on, will show off a lot of really great solos in certain songs, but then mail in a lot of his solos. Especially on pretty much every solo he does up until some of them that he has writing credits on, he'll completely mail in the solo, just shredding it all the way through, but then write some passionate solos in the songs that he wrote. Adrian Smith is back in full force. He gives some really great heavy writing credits on this album. He's only got like 2 writing credits here, but he writes some really good riffs regardless. And his guitar soloing is awesome on this album. My only problem is that Nico McBrain, his drumming is on top form, especially on like Ghost of the Navigator, where you hear some really great intricate drumming. But his drum tone sounds really terrible on this album for some reason. The snare is like tuned way too high. And I want to go into the production too, because it sounds super raw on this album, which at points sounds good, like the guitars and everything, the melodies, all that sounds really good, and the bass sounds great, and Bruce Dickinson's vocals sound really good. He does strain a tiny bit here and there, but they sound like better than they did on Seventh Son. But they have Kevin Shirley on this album and for every album afterwards, and he has this weird idea where he wants to be really lazy with the production, not really master it that much, so that has this super raw live sound. He did that with like Dream Theater as well. I don't know why he does that, because it just sounds like a garbled mess at certain points. But on this album, he definitely cared more and put a little bit more effort to make everything sound pretty good. But a big problem is starting to really surface in this album, repetitive Iron Maiden albums, because a lot of the choruses will just repeat the same shit over and over. So we start with The Wicker Man, the absolute classic, and I want to take this time to note that there's actually a different version of this that was first released where they had additional vocal harmonies in the chorus where Bruce would say, "Your time will come," and then he would say, "Thy will be done, your time will come, don't turn, don't run." And that version is so much better. I don't know why they scrapped it. If you guys want to check it out, look up the Wicker Man Rare Radio edit or something like that. And they just removed it for some reason, so then the chorus sounds really repetitive. It starts with a riff that sounds like Running Wild by Judas Priest. The riffs in here are really great. It sounds like total classic Maiden. It's speedy all the way through. Bruce sounds really great and passionate. The pre-chorus is amazing. And of course, the Your Time Will Come. It has this really happy, kind of jumpy vibe to it. It sounds great. And Adrian's guitar solo is amazing. And you gotta love the chanting at the end. It sounds like stuff like Heaven Can Wait. It's incredible. Overall, probably the best song because there's no repetition or anything like that. This is Ghost of the Navigator. It's not like overly long, but it's like super progressive. It keeps changing and going through all these different ideas. It starts with this incredibly melodic, beautiful intro that starts speeding up and lets you know that they're in for business. When the drums kick in, you hear Nicky McBrain hitting the single bass drum really fast. He goes right into the roll, and then it goes into like one of the most awesome, like almost thrashy riffs. The lyrics are absolutely incredible. It's about like a kid searching for his father that was lost in seas. Now, there's this one part that's kind of weird where Bruce is singing all these weird altered vocal harmonies where it's like, but of course the chorus is awesome. I see the ghosts of navigators and they are lost. It's like this epic, kick-ass, pounding Iron Maiden vibe to it. But then it goes into like the second chorus that's amazing. The melodies in that part are absolutely incredible and the riffs sound really great. You can hear the triple E guitar work coming in here perfectly. Then it goes to like a middle part that has some really great harmonies and really great riffs and a lot of changes, and it even has a really great Yannick Gers solo that's pretty lengthy. Then we have Brave New World, which is based on the book by Aldous Huxley or something like that. I read a little bit of it, and I think it has to do with like we're so far in the future that we basically birth babies in like laboratories and stuff like that. Now the song is absolutely incredibly written. It's pretty lengthy but really catchy and melodic. The only problem that a lot of people have with this, including myself, is the chorus is very, very, very repetitive. But it's not too bad because Bruce changes it up a little bit with the vocal melodies. Now the intro is absolutely incredible. You hear the triple lead guitar work going on perfectly. Bruce is singing incredibly beautiful, one of his best vocal performances, and this song kind of reminds me a little bit of like Infinite Dreams. The song picks up, gets really heavy, and goes like this really odd type of chugging riff. Bruce is hitting some incredible high notes in there. It goes in that repetitive chorus, but it has this like awesome slow gallop to it. Then it goes into like another verse that's like a lot more fast and gallopy, and it sounds even more exciting. The song just does not let you go, and it has an incredible solo section with lead guitar melodies all over the place. First you have like a really good solo from Yannick, and then a pretty shreddy solo from Dave. And they have these like really great melodies at the end of it. And it goes right back into the chorus and then ends beautifully. Then we have the classic Blood Brothers. And I think this one is about Steve Harris's dad who died, and he considered them like blood brothers and stuff like that. And the song is usually dedicated to when they like lose someone special. Now it took me a really long time to like this song because it was kind of long, it was kind of drawn out, and it's more like a ballady, somewhat pseudo-progressive song. But I've grown to really like it. The lyrics in there are absolutely amazing. It feels very personal, and during like the verse it like starts getting kind of heavier. There's more distorted guitars and there are more melodies thrown in, but it still has this like personal melodic atmosphere to it. The chorus is very repetitive. We're blood brothers, but it has this like really cool chanting sort of feel to it. And it goes through like 3 verses. The second verse is like really quick and it goes right into the chorus, and I wish they had cut that out because it just starts feeling tedious after a while. Then Dave Murray gives a pretty decent solo, and then it goes into a slow middle section. You'd think it's gonna like have a really heavy payoff, but this time it's actually gonna be a slow melodic one. It goes in this really beautiful intricate guitar section that's led by Yannick. Bruce is singing some incredibly beautiful lyrics right here. And then Yannick comes up with an even more distorted lead riff that has even more passion and goes into one of his absolute best solos of his entire career. A really great song that maybe could have gotten some fat trimmed off of it, but I think it's a very personal and passionate song and a very good one to this album. Then we have The Mercenary, an incredibly punchy, heavy, kick-ass, throwback 80s style song that the fan base doesn't like for some reason. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people say that this is the weakest song on the album, or one of the weakest ones, even though it's like complete throwback. I mean, there's a little bit of repetition in the chorus where he's saying, show them no fear, show them no pain, but it's pretty cool and punchy. Bruce sings like really fierce in the verse, like Paul Di'Anno or something like that. The riffs in here absolutely kick ass and pounding, and I believe this was one of the songs along with Blood Brothers that was actually written for Virtual 11. The whole song is very quick and to the point, and to even add more to the 80s throwback style, you get a dual solo between Dave and Adrian. So Dream of Mirrors is the Yannick epic, and I used to absolutely hate this song, but what made me really get into it is the Rock in Rio version. The song begins very awkwardly, where it's just really abrupt with Bruce strainily yelling. He's like, have you ever felt the future is the past? That's just kind of weird. I've grown to kind of like that, but it's just really abrupt and bizarre. But then it goes into a really beautiful melody. Now, my biggest problem with the song is that it's like almost 10 minutes, and it just kind of drags. There's definitely a lot of amazing songwriting here, a lot of great melody and intricate guitar playing, especially in the verses and stuff like that. It really builds up atmospheres for something really cool, but it just keeps dragging. Like, there's 3 verses and 2 or like 3 choruses, and the verses are all very slow. However, what saves this song is that the atmosphere is incredibly strong. The lyrics and storytelling are incredibly strong. It really draws you in, even though it's kind of slow and drawn out. And there's even a big payoff, so it's actually well written, but it's like they were self-indulgent on this song. I love the little pre-chorus sort of thing that they have for after the first verse, where he says, the dream is true, and he keeps saying that over and over. They go into another verse. Then it starts getting really heavy, and you get into that really cool chorus where Bruce is yelling, I only dream in black and white, I only dream cause I'm alive, I only dream in black and white to save me from myself, which is actually really cool lyrics, but it does seem a little redundant when he keeps saying it over and over. Then they go into the third verse, which I think they should have cut out, because it feels like they're just going through the motions over and over to buy up time, and this verse just sounds weird, because during the melodic bits of this verse, you'll have Nico slamming a snare drum, and it just sounds really bad. But then, like I said, there's a payoff. Right after this chorus, it goes right into a really crazy, fast Iron Maiden intricate gallop. And here in the fast part, you have Bruce yelling, lost in a dream of mirrors, lost in a paradox, lost. I feel that I've existed, lost. It's kind of the same shit over and over. But hey, once again, it's a payoff of some sorts. It's actually fast and interesting. And then they go into a really cool Yannick solo that's pretty up-tempo. And then they go into this part where they just keep screaming, I only dream in black and white, I only dream because I'm alive. And then they go into the chorus again at the end that's slow. So the biggest problem is that the song is well written, but it's just drawn on forever. Fallen Angel. This one has some cool riffs to it for sure. It sounds like old classic Adrian Smith, badass Maiden. The riffs here are great, but Bruce Dickinson sings absolutely terribly. He like tries to follow the odd riff. He like hits these really pitchy notes. And it sounds especially bad in the pre-chorus where he says, you and only God will know what can be done! But the chorus is actually pretty decent. I like how they play it through twice. It's very catchy, and Bruce sings pretty decently, but that's about the only redeemable part of this song. Even the solo section, which has a solo from Adrian, Dave, then Yannick, just feels kind of tedious, drawn out, and like riffs in that area are just kind of generic. It just sounds like the boring verse again. Then we have what I consider the epic on the album, Nomad. Now, before I get into this, I want to talk about how pretty much every album after this point, with the exception of maybe like the last two albums that they've done, it's confusing what the hell the epic is, because you have a bunch of songs that are like almost equal in length, and all of them could be the epic for all we know. And this is definitely a big problem on this album. Like, what's the epic? Now, some could argue it's Dream of Mirrors because they played it live. Some could argue it's Blood Brothers because it's the only one solely written by Steve Harris. But I'm going to argue it's Nomad, because for me, Iron Maiden epics are songs that are really long, are very epic sounding, which this song definitely has. It sounds really, really like, it kind of sounds like Gates of Babylon by Rainbow, and I usually say if it's epic like that, then it's the epic song. It features guitar solos from all three members, which every epic up to this point had guitar solos from all the members. And it even has a lengthy instrumental section, and every epic pretty much has to have that, has to have the lengthy instrumental section. And this one is one of the few ones in the album that has that, actually, because Dream of Mirrors does not really have a lengthy instrumental section. It just kind of has some crazy fast stuff with Bruce singing. During the slow middle section, like right after that, they would have the solos, kind of like Seventh Son of a Seventh Son around the Ancient Mariner. They have the solos before it, so it kind of makes the instrumental slow section redundant, because it's not building up towards anything except the chorus. And that's the biggest problem probably with the songs. The choruses are a little too much and very repetitive. You got Nomad, and then you got the Nomad! So, yeah, it gets annoying, but the riffs in here are badass. And I love the intricate lead melody that Dave plays. Like, there's some really badass riffs throughout this song. Once again, the biggest problem is maybe it's a little too repetitive, but with this song, it's not like they're dragging on time forever, kind of like Dream of Mirrors was, and it's definitely more uniquely structured, and it's definitely the epic. Then we have Out of the Silent Planet. It has a pretty whatever intro, and then it goes to this stupid part where everyone's softly singing Out of the Silent Planet. First, it sounds pretty heavy and cool. You get to that pretty damn good chorus where they're saying like, out of the silent planet, dreams of desolation. And the vocal melodies in there are really great. But of course, they have to ruin it when they go faster for the middle part. They start singing, out of the silent planet, out of the silent planet we are. Then we have the last song, The Thin Line Between Love and Hate, the Dave Murray song. The biggest problem with it is it's definitely kind of drawn on forever, and the reason it's drawn on is that it's not like it has a bunch of choruses and shit, or like build-ups for no reason, but they just kind of keep jamming on the end. Like, they'll just get soft, and then they'll just start jamming again and having more solos, and then they'll get soft again and then do the same shit. The intro is very slow and epic, and the verses are pretty cool, but what makes this song really great is the chorus, the really great vocal melodies between everyone where they're just kind of saying the name of the song. And then I love the part when Bruce comes with that second chorus where he's singing these really high melodies. And Dave's solo work definitely soars this song to another level. There's like 5 great, amazing Dave Murray solos throughout the entire song, and it pretty much interconnects everything. And one last thing to note is that after Bruce does the thin line between love and hate, where he sings it really beautifully, you can hear Nico McBrain quietly yelling, "Oh, I think I fucking missed it!